Chosen one, you have walked through storms that no one else could see, carried weights that were never meant for your shoulders, and endured nights that felt like they would never end. There were moments when you questioned everything, your purpose, your strength, even your worth. It felt as though the universe had singled you out, placing obstacle after obstacle in your path, testing how much you could take before you broke. But here you stand, still breathing, still moving forward, still holding on to something deep inside you that refused to die. That something is not accidental, it is not random, it is the very reason you were chosen. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. The depth of your pain reflects the magnitude of your purpose. While others were living comfortably, you were being shaped, refined, and prepared. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every silent tear had a role in molding you into who you are becoming. You may not have understood it while you were going through it, and honestly, you were not supposed to. Growth rarely makes sense in the moment. It often feels like destruction before it reveals itself as transformation. But now something is shifting. You can feel it. The weight is lifting, the fog is clearing, and for the first time in a long time, you are beginning to see light ahead instead of endless darkness. Your suffering is not just ending temporarily, it is ending for good. Not because life will suddenly become perfect, but because you are no longer the same person who once suffered in silence. You have evolved. You have learned how to stand in your truth, how to recognize your value, and how to walk away from what no longer serves you. The pain that once controlled you has now become your greatest teacher. It taught you resilience when you felt weak, clarity when you were confused, and strength when you thought you had none left. That version of you who struggled just to survive is now giving birth to a version of you that is ready to thrive. Think about everything you have endured, the moments when you felt abandoned, misunderstood, or completely alone. Those were not punishments, they were initiations. You were being prepared to rely on something greater within yourself, something unshakable. You were being taught how to stand alone so that when the right people finally enter your life, you will not depend on them for your identity or your peace. You will meet them as a whole person, not someone searching to be completed. That is power. That is growth. And that is what sets you apart. There is a reason why not everyone could walk your path. Many would have given up. Many would have chosen bitterness, resentment, or self-destruction. But you didn't. Even when you felt like quitting, you kept going. Even when your heart was heavy, you kept believing, sometimes without even realizing it. That quiet persistence is what makes you different. That is what makes you chosen. It is not about perfection. It is about endurance. It is about rising again and again, even when life knocks you down harder each time. Now you are entering a new phase, a phase where things begin to align in ways that once felt impossible. Opportunities will start to appear. Connections will feel more genuine. Your mind will become clearer and your heart lighter. This is not luck. This is the result of everything you have gone through. You have paid your dues. You have done the inner work, even when you didn't have the words to describe it. You faced your fears, confronted your pain, and refused to let it define you. That is why your suffering is coming to an end. Not because time passed, but because you transformed. You will start to notice that things no longer affect you the way they used to. Situations that once drained you will now feel manageable. People who once had power over your emotions will no longer hold that influence. You are reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your identity. And with that comes a sense of freedom that cannot be taken away. You are no longer tied to your past. You are no longer defined by what happened to you. You are defined by who you chose to become in spite of it. There will be moments when you look back and almost can't recognize the person you used to be. The one who doubted themselves, who settled for less, who stayed in places that hurt them. That version of you was necessary, but it is no longer who you are. You have outgrown that identity. You have stepped into something greater, something stronger, something more aligned with your true self. And once you reach this point, there is no going back. You cannot unlearn what you now know. You cannot shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Your journey has given you a level of awareness that many people will never understand. You can see through illusions. You can sense authenticity. You can recognize when something is right for you and when it is not. This clarity is one of your greatest gifts. It will guide you, protect you, and help you navigate life with confidence and purpose. Trust it. Trust yourself. You have earned that trust through every challenge you have overcome. As your suffering fades, you may feel a mix of emotions, relief of course, but also disbelief. After everything you have been through, it might feel strange to experience peace. You might even question it at first, wondering if it will last, but this time, it is different. This peace is not temporary. It is not dependent on external circumstances. It comes from within you. It is the result of your growth, your healing, and your decision to rise above your past. You are not the same person who once struggled to hold it all together. You are someone who has learned how to rebuild from nothing, how to find strength in vulnerability, and how to turn pain into power. That is not something that can be taken away from you. That is something you carry with you wherever you go. It is part of who you are now. The path ahead of you is not about proving anything to anyone. It is not about seeking validation or trying to fit into expectations that were never meant for you. It is about living authentically, embracing your truth, and allowing yourself to experience the fullness of life without fear. You have spent enough time surviving. Now it is time to live. There will be people who notice the change in you. They will see the confidence, the calmness, the strength that you now carry. Some will be inspired by it. Others may not understand it. That is okay. Your journey was never meant to be understood by everyone. It was meant to transform you, and it has done exactly that. You are stepping into a version of yourself that once felt out of reach. A version that is grounded, self-aware, and unapologetically authentic. You no longer need to chase what is meant for you. It will come naturally, because you are now aligned with it. That is the beauty of this phase. It is not about force. It is about flow. Your suffering is over because you have learned what it was trying to teach you. You have broken cycles that may have existed long before you. You have chosen growth over comfort, truth over illusion, and strength over fear. That is what sets you free. That is what allows you to move forward without carrying the weight of your past. From this point on, your life will begin to reflect the work you have done internally. You will attract experiences that match your new level of awareness and self-worth. You will find yourself in environments that support your growth rather than hinder it. You will connect with people who see you, respect you, and value you for who you truly are. This is not something you need to chase. It is something you have already aligned with through your transformation. Remember, being chosen does not mean your life will be without challenges. It means you now have the strength, wisdom, and clarity to face them without losing yourself. It means you no longer see obstacles as the end, but as part of the journey. And most importantly, it means you understand your own power. You are no longer defined by what you went through. You are defined by how you rose from it. Every scar, every lesson, every moment of pain has contributed to the person you are today. And that person is stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. So stand tall, chosen one. Not because everything was easy, but because it wasn't, and you made it through anyway. Your suffering is not just ending, it has served its purpose. It has shaped you into someone who is ready for what comes next. And what comes next is not more pain, not more struggle, but growth, alignment, and a life that finally reflects the strength you have always carried within you. Your pain had a purpose, even when it felt meaningless, even when it felt cruel, and even when you questioned why it had to happen to you. In those moments, it didn't feel like growth. It felt like breaking. It felt like being pushed beyond your limits, like carrying a weight that no one else could see or understand. You may have asked yourself over and over again why life kept testing you, why things never seemed to go the easy way, why you had to learn lessons through struggle instead of comfort. But what you couldn't see at the time was that every single experience was shaping you in ways that comfort never could. Pain has a way of forcing awareness. It pulls you out of illusions and makes you see things as they truly are. The heartbreaks taught you who was genuine and who was temporary. The failures taught you where you needed to grow. The disappointments showed you that not everything is meant to stay, no matter how much you wanted it to. And while those realizations hurt, they also awaken something inside you, a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. You didn't just go through pain, you were refined by it. Every time you thought you couldn't go on but did anyway, you built strength. Every time you were hurt but chose not to become bitter, you built character. Every time you faced something that shook you and still found a way to stand again, you proved to yourself that you are far more resilient than you ever believed. That kind of strength doesn't come from easy moments. It is forged in the hardest ones. There were times when your pain isolated you, when you felt like no one could truly understand what you were going through. But even in that isolation, you were learning how to stand on your own, how to rely on yourself, how to listen to your inner voice instead of constantly seeking validation from others. That independence, that self-awareness, is something many people spend their entire lives trying to find. You were forced to develop it, and now it has become one of your greatest assets. Looking back, you may begin to connect the dots. Things that once felt like endings were actually redirections. People who left created space for better ones to enter. Situations that didn't work out were protecting you from paths that were never meant for you. Your pain was not there to destroy you. It was there to guide you, even if the guidance came in a form you didn't recognize at the time. Now you are not the same person who first encountered those struggles. You see things differently. You respond differently. You carry yourself with a quiet strength that comes from experience, not from theory. Your awareness has deepened, your boundaries have strengthened, and your understanding of your own worth has grown. All of that came from what you went through. So when you think about your pain, don't just see it as something you survived. See it as something that shaped you into who you are today. It built your resilience, sharpened your awareness, and strengthened your spirit. It had a purpose all along, even when it didn't feel like it. And now that purpose is becoming clear through the person you have become. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. And that truth is written in everything you have endured. Your path has never looked like everyone else's, and that's not by accident. While others may have moved through life with ease, you were placed in situations that demanded more from you. More strength, more patience, more resilience. There were moments when you probably wished for a simpler journey, something lighter, something that didn't require you to constantly prove your endurance. But your life was never designed to be ordinary. And deep down, a part of you has always known that. Being chosen does not mean being favored in the way people often imagine. It doesn't mean life is easier, or that everything falls into place without effort. In fact, it often means the opposite. It means you were trusted with challenges that would shape you into someone capable of carrying something greater. It means you were given experiences that would expand your perspective, deepen your understanding, and force you to grow in ways most people never have to. That kind of journey is not for everyone, because not everyone is built to handle it. Think about how many times you could have given up, how many times things became so overwhelming that walking away felt like the only option, yet somehow you stayed. You kept going even when it didn't make sense, even when you were exhausted, even when you felt completely alone. That persistence is not normal, it is rare. It is the mark of someone who is built differently, someone who carries a deeper purpose whether they fully understand it yet or not. Your experiences have carved something unique within you. You don't see the world the same way as others, because you've seen sides of it that many never will. You've felt depths of emotion that have stretched your understanding of pain but also of strength. This has given you a level of awareness that sets you apart. You can sense what is real and what is not. You can recognize patterns, intentions, and truths that others might overlook. That awareness is part of what makes you chosen. It is a tool, a gift that comes from everything you have been through. There is also a quiet strength in you that doesn't need to announce itself. It shows in the way you handle situations now, in the way you don't react the same way you used to, in the way you carry yourself with a deeper sense of control. You've learned lessons that couldn't be taught through words alone. You had to live them, feel them, and grow through them. That kind of understanding cannot be faked or borrowed. It has to be earned, and you have earned it. Not everyone could walk your path and come out the way you have. Some would have broken under the pressure. Some would have chosen bitterness, anger, or defeat, but you didn't. Even when you struggled, even when you felt lost, there was always something in you that refused to completely give up. That inner resistance, that refusal to stay down, is what separates you. It is what confirms that your journey, as difficult as it has been, was shaping you for something beyond the ordinary. As you move forward, you may start to realize that being chosen is not about comparison or superiority. It is about responsibility. It is about what you do with everything you have learned, how you use your strength, and how you continue to grow. Your journey has given you tools that can not only transform your own life but also impact others in ways you may not even fully realize yet. So when you reflect on your path, don't see it as unfair or unnecessarily difficult. See it as intentional. See it as a process that has been preparing you all along. You are not ordinary, and you were never meant to be. Your life carries a different weight because it carries a different purpose. And everything you have endured is proof that you were strong enough to handle it and capable enough to rise from it. Transformation through suffering is not something you recognize while you're in the middle of it. When the pain is fresh, when the wounds are still open, it doesn't feel like transformation. It feels like you're falling apart. It feels like everything you once knew is being stripped away, like the ground beneath you is no longer stable. In those moments, survival becomes your only focus. You're not thinking about growth or evolution. You're just trying to make it through the day, trying to hold yourself together when everything inside you feels like it's collapsing. But that phase, as heavy and overwhelming as it was never meant to be your final destination. What felt like breaking was actually rebuilding. Piece by piece, experience by experience, you were being reshaped into someone stronger, someone more aware, someone who could see beyond illusions. The pain forced you to confront parts of yourself you may have avoided before. It pushed you to question your patterns, your choices, your boundaries. And while that process was uncomfortable, sometimes even unbearable, it was necessary. Because without that level of discomfort, there would have been no reason to change, no reason to grow beyond the version of yourself that was limited by fear, doubt, or attachment. You didn't just endure suffering, you adapted through it. You learned how to navigate emotions that once overwhelmed you. You began to understand your triggers instead of being controlled by them. Situations that once would have completely shaken you now feel different, not because life has become easier, but because you have become stronger. That shift is everything. It marks the moment where you move out of survival mode and into awareness. In survival mode, everything feels reactive. You're constantly responding to what happens to you, constantly trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. There's tension in every decision, fear in every step forward. But transformation changes that. It brings clarity. It allows you to pause, to observe, to choose your response instead of acting out of instinct or pain. You begin to see that not everything deserves your energy, not everything deserves your reaction. That level of control is something you didn't have before, and it came directly from what you went through. Your strength now is not loud or forced. It is quiet, steady, and grounded. It shows in the way you carry yourself, in the way you no longer chase what isn't meant for you, in the way you can walk away from situations that once would have held you captive. You have learnt that your peace is valuable and you protect it differently now. That is growth. That is transformation. There is also a new sense of clarity within you. Things that once confused you now make sense. You can see patterns in people, in situations, even in yourself. You understand what aligns with you and what doesn't. You no longer feel the need to force connections or hold on to things out of fear of losing them. That clarity didn't come from ease. It came from experience. It came from seeing what happens when things fall apart, and realizing that sometimes they fall apart to make space for something better. You have also developed a deeper relationship with yourself. During your hardest moments, when no one else could truly understand what you were feeling, you were forced to turn inward. You learned how to sit with your thoughts, how to process your emotions, how to find strength within yourself instead of constantly searching for it outside. That connection with yourself is one of the most powerful outcomes of your suffering. It means you are no longer dependent on external validation to feel whole. Now you are no longer just surviving, you are ready to thrive. Thriving doesn't mean life is perfect or free from challenges. It means you approach life differently. You move with intention instead of fear. You make decisions based on clarity instead of confusion. You trust yourself in ways you never did before. And most importantly, you no longer see yourself as fragile or easily broken. You know what you've been through, and you know what it took to come out the other side. Your pain did not destroy you. It transformed you into someone who is more resilient, more self-aware, and more prepared for what lies ahead. You carry a strength that was earned, not given, and that strength is what allows you to step into the next phase of your life. Not as someone trying to survive it, but as someone ready to fully live it. Your suffering is ending because you've grown, even if it didn't always feel like progress while you were going through it. Growth is not always visible in the moment. Sometimes it looks like confusion, like setbacks, like repeating the same lessons until something finally clicks within you. There were times when you may have felt stuck, wondering why things weren't changing despite everything you were trying to do. But what was really happening was deeper than surface-level change. You were evolving internally, reshaping the way you think, the way you respond, and the way you see yourself. The shift that is happening in your life right now is not luck, and it's not random. It is the direct result of the work you've done within yourself, work that no one else may have seen. The nights you spent reflecting, the moments you chose to walk away instead of holding on, the times you held your emotions together when everything inside you felt chaotic. Those moments mattered. They built a new version of you, one that is no longer operating from the same wounds that once controlled your decisions. You've learned lessons that have changed your foundation. You understand your worth in a way you didn't before. You recognize patterns that once trapped you, and now you have the awareness to break them. You no longer accept what drains you, confuses you, or diminishes you. That shift alone changes everything, because it affects what you allow into your life and what you choose to leave behind. Growth is not just about becoming stronger, it's about becoming clearer. There was a time when you may have tolerated situations out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of not knowing what comes next. But now, that fear doesn't hold the same power over you. You've already faced uncertainty, you've already walked through discomfort, you've already experienced what it feels like to lose and rebuild. Because of that, you are no longer afraid of change in the same way. In fact, you understand that change is often necessary for something better to enter your life. This is why your suffering is coming to an end. Not because challenges will disappear completely, but because you are no longer the version of yourself that suffered in the same way. You don't internalize everything like you used to. You don't question your value based on how others treat you. You don't stay in places that break you just to avoid the unknown. You have outgrown those patterns, and with that you have outgrown a certain level of pain. You are stepping into a space where things begin to feel different, not perfect but lighter. Situations resolve more easily because you approach them with clarity. Relationships feel more balanced because you understand boundaries. Your thoughts are less chaotic because you've learned how to process them instead of being consumed by them. These changes may seem subtle at first, but they are powerful. They are signs that you are no longer living from the same place you once were. There is also a sense of self-trust that has developed within you. Before, you may have doubted your decisions, second-guessed your instincts, or relied heavily on others for validation. But now you are learning to trust your own judgment. You listen to yourself more. You pay attention to what feels right and what doesn't. That trust creates a sense of stability that cannot be shaken easily, because it comes from within you, not from external circumstances. As you continue forward, you may notice that what once felt heavy no longer has the same impact. The things that used to drain you now feel easier to release. The people who once affected your emotions no longer have that level of influence. This is not because they changed, it's because you did. You have shifted internally, and that shift is changing your external experience. You are no longer the same person who once struggled in the way you did before. That version of you served a purpose, but it was never meant to be permanent. You have grown beyond it. You have learnt, adapted, and evolved. And because of that, your life is beginning to reflect that growth. So as this new phase unfolds, allow yourself to accept it without doubt. You don't need to question whether you deserve it. You don't need to wait for something to go wrong. This is the result of everything you have worked through, everything you have learnt, and everything you have become. Your suffering is ending because you are no longer who you used to be. And that is exactly why things are finally changing. A new aligned life is beginning, and it may feel unfamiliar at first because you are stepping into a version of reality that matches who you have become, not who you used to be. For so long you were operating from survival, making choices, off pressure, fear, or uncertainty. You were doing what you had to do to get through, not necessarily what truly reflected your worth. But now something has shifted within you. You are no longer moving blindly. You are moving with awareness, with intention, and with a deeper understanding of what you deserve. As you move forward, you will begin to notice that opportunities show up differently. They will no longer feel forced or confusing. Instead of chasing things that drain you or leave you questioning your value, you will find yourself naturally drawn to paths that feel right. These opportunities will align with your growth, your skills, and your inner sense of direction. It won't feel like constant struggle anymore. It will feel like things are unfolding with a sense of flow. That doesn't mean there will be no effort, but the effort will feel purposeful instead of exhausting. Your relationships will also begin to change, and this is one of the most powerful signs of alignment. You are no longer the same person who once tolerated inconsistency, disrespect, or emotional confusion. You have learned what healthy connection feels like, even if you experienced it by first understanding what it is not. Because of that, you will start attracting people who meet you with the same level of honesty, respect, and emotional maturity that you now carry. Conversations will feel more genuine. Connections will feel more balanced. You will no longer feel like you have to overextend yourself just to maintain a bond. At the same time, you may notice that some people naturally fall away. This is not a loss, it is a realignment. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into this next phase of your life. Some people were part of your learning process, part of your growth, but not part of your future. And now, instead of holding on out of habit or fear, you are able to let go with understanding. You recognize that your peace is more valuable than trying to keep something that no longer fits who you are. Inner peace will also start to feel more consistent, not as something temporary, but as a state you can return to. Before, your peace may have depended on external circumstances, how people treated you, how things were going in your life, whether everything felt stable. But now, your peace is rooted within you. It comes from knowing yourself, trusting yourself, and not allowing outside chaos to dictate your internal state. That kind of peace is powerful because it cannot easily be taken away. You are also becoming more in tune with your own energy. You can feel when something is right and when something is off. You no longer ignore those signals. You listen to them and you act accordingly. This awareness protects you. It guides you. It helps you make decisions that are aligned with your well-being instead of decisions based on impulse or fear. That is a level of self-connection that changes everything. This new phase is not about becoming someone else. It is about fully becoming yourself. The version of you that was always there beneath the doubt, beneath the pain, beneath the conditioning. Now you are shedding everything that was never truly you. The expectations, the limitations, the beliefs that kept you small. They are losing their hold on you, and in their place, something more authentic is emerging. As this aligned life unfolds, you will start to feel a sense of stability that you may not have experienced before. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are grounded within yourself. You are no longer easily shaken by every challenge or every opinion. You know who you are, and that clarity gives you strength. It allows you to move through life with confidence, not arrogance, but a quiet certainty that you are on the right path. You don't need to force anything anymore. What is meant for you will come, and you will recognize it not through confusion, but through clarity. It will feel right, not because it is flawless, but because it aligns with who you are now. That is the difference. You are no longer trying to fit into things that were not made for you. You are allowing life to meet you where you truly belong. A new aligned life is beginning, and it reflects the work you have done, the lessons you have learned, and the strength you have built. It is not something outside of you. It is a continuation of everything you have become. And as you step into it, you will realize that what once felt out of reach is now naturally part of your reality, because you are finally in alignment with yourself,